Oh, well, it's a little cold here in Chicago. Well, if you actually live in the northwest suburbs like me, you can never say you're from Chicago. You have to say you're from the northwest suburbs of Chicago because you'll automatically get corrected by anyone that lives in Chicago. Anyways, it is like 15 to 20 degrees outside. It's actually, now that I look at it, 17 degrees outside. So I do have an insulated garage, but it doesn't help much. I only have one inside wall right here and a partial over here. The rest are outside walls. So you see my cheeks are even a little red. But I would still like to print, but as anyone that does 3D printing knows that it's not really possible, to print when it's cold or when your ambient temperature around the printer is cold. Well, let's take a look exactly how cold it is. I have my, where did it go? I have my trusty little infrared thermometer here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, well, you can see it's pretty dark cold in here. I don't have a thermometer on the wall, but I figure aiming the infrared thermometer on the parts, you could see, how it is in here. 40 degrees on the parts, not the ideal printing environment. But we're going to attempt to print in here without an enclosure. How are we going to do this? Well, I have a heater here. It has very minimal wind turbulence, let's just say. The fan in there is very small. It doesn't, it's not loud. And I'll show you with a piece of paper later on how much turbulence is coming out of it. Because I know you don't really want to directly aim it at the parts as they're printing. However, our first print is going to be the control. We're going to just make sure the bed's nice and clean. We're going to just do a print in this cold environment just the way it is. Then I have a feeling it's going to fail. So the second print, clean the bed again, and we're going to use a glue stick. I know a lot of people say don't use glue sticks, use hairspray, don't use hairspray. Well, I'm definitely not using hairspray anymore, as you probably know from one of my previous videos. Nope, that's out of the picture, period. Alright, so for the third print, what we're going to do, like I said, I have a feeling it's going to fail. So the third print, we're going to actually line this up pretty close. Maybe like that. And it's going to be aiming directly at the area. So clean the bed, start to print. The fourth print, we're going to raise this up, set it on top of some boxes, and aim it at the back where these poster boards are, and let it bounce around, not going directly at it. I figure after 4 of those, if it doesn't work, I'm going to give up the printing in the cold weather here in the northwest suburbs of Chicago until I have my enclosure. The enclosure I'm designing is going to just come out a little bit on all the corners here, just by a few inches, and then a few inches on the top. I want it to look pretty much the way it is. So I have extruded black aluminum 2020 ordered, and I have a very unique design on how to heat up the inside of this. The parts are on order, but it's going to take weeks for everything to come in. There was no express shipping on the extruded aluminum. The rest of the parts are Amazon next day, but it's the aluminum I'm waiting on. So, oh well. But again, I want to be able to print. I figure if I could print in temperatures this low, I should be able to print in even lower temperatures. Minus if that garage door, big overhead door, doesn't open and close all the time. So anyways, let's get to it. We're going to turn it on and get going. Okay, so we face our first obstacle. I can't even get it to the bed to even heat up. As we saw that the nozzle could turn up, but as soon as I do the bed, I get that thermistor error. I think I understand why. If you look at the video here
you can see that it's actually at only 2 degrees Celsius.
I'm thinking that it is having a difficult time going past that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a heat gun, all right, and we're going to just heat up underneath the bed and see if we can just bring that temperature up, and then we'll turn it on. I've actually powered cycled that about 5 times already. I only showed you the one on there. I'm like, great. I can't even print now. Again, I just replaced that power supply, as you saw in the previous video. And now I'm getting another one, but you know what? I really think that's what the issue is here. So let's give that a try and see if we can get past that thermistor error. I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, you know what? It's the wiring or something. No, I already ran through all that wiring. It's not the wiring. I know it's not the power supply, because it just better not be that power supply. So let's do this and give it a try.
Alright, right when the bed hit about 20 degrees Celsius, I stopped. Let's go ahead and hit 65, hit OK, see if I get the error. Nope, that was pretty good. Now about the nozzle. And it looks like we're good. Now, I really think that's what the problem was. You'll be the judge of that. Well, here's our control. Just going ahead and do the print. 40 degrees within the garage right now. Maybe a little bit lower. Let's see what happens. Well, as we can see, it didn't fare very well. It's sliding all over the place, becoming spaghetti. Now let's try the glue on the bed. Same thing, 40 degrees within the garage. See what happens. Well, honestly, I didn't expect the glue to do that well, but still destruction. Here's the heater, and like I said, not that much wind turbulence is coming out of it. Pretty small fan, put the paper in front, and it just barely moves. I mean, well, it is moving, but not what you would most likely expect. The printer is set to 90 degrees, and it's blowing right at the part. You can see it, here's a better angle of the setup, so it's going to go straight across. Well, I have to say, this was a pretty fast disappointment. It failed so quickly. I left the garage and came back within 20 minutes, and this is what I saw. Yikes. Alright, the fourth and final test. We are angling the heater towards the back, and it's going to most likely bounce off the back wall and into the cabinet. I think this is most likely the best scenario. And I'm just showing you the temperature differences, and it really looks like that's what's happening. The back is a lot higher temperature. The middle is around 75 degrees. So let's see what happens. Well, it looks like we have a successful print. Amazing. So, with that successful print, I decided to go back to my nemesis. I've been trying to print out this Christmas Yoda for about a week and a half now. Now, given the fact that the garage has been below ideal temperatures, kind of knew it was going to fail, but I had some real catastrophic failures here. And let's see what happens with this one. This print took about, I think it was around 20 hours. Wow, I just can't believe it. It actually finished. Yeah, there's a couple of stringy issues as you see, but man, so happy. And here's the first failure, the second failure, third failure, which was worse than the first failure, and a successful print, but there's some issues. I'll go through that later. And the Yoda, the Christmas Yoda. Now let's break everything down. Alright, so here is our control. This is the first test. This was in the garage below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see the bottom is just not very well done at all. It rocks back and forth, so you know that it lost adhesion and started to curl around the edges. I mean, you can also just see it when you look at it. It's not straight. Yeah, it's just a mess. It's just the wording on the bottom rarely make it out, and as you tilt it back and forth, you can definitely see how it's glossy around the corners. You know that it was going to fail pretty fast. Lifted it right up. So now we're going to go to test number 2 with the clean bed and just using a glue stick. Honestly, I was pretty surprised that it made it this far, but yeah, definitely some issues. You can actually see the bevel on the bottom right here. It just like curves up, not flat at all. You know, the layers don't look too bad, but look at the bottom here. You can see that the wording, you can actually make it out, but the bottom is not clean at all. Definitely see the glossiness around the corners. It was just a matter of time before this one failed. And it also clogged up the nozzle pretty bad. Now, test number 3 really surprised me. It was the quickest failure of them all. Actually, I guess it shouldn't surprise me. There was basically wind blowing on it. I mean, it lost adhesion fast. Look at this. It was just horrible right off the bat. Now remember, I did clean the same way between each of them. Hot soapy water, took the bed off. I know I didn't show it, but yeah, it's just absolutely horrible. I mean, this also clogged my nozzle pretty bad. Spent a long time cleaning it. I thought I got it all, but I didn't take off the silicone boot. And actually, when I got to the 4th test, I saw some of it actually still on there, but I didn't pause the print. Here is the 4th print with the heater blowing against the back wall. I have to say, this is probably one of the best benches I've actually have done so far. The bottom is nice and clean. There is a little bit of curling around the corners here. Not that bad though. And the letters are totally legible. Pretty surprised. You can see right there that little black dot. That's still from the filament, from the black filament that I printed a lot of stuff and it's still hanging around. Here is a layer issue that I had. Well, we're donating some furniture and the garage door was open for almost 30 minutes. And I think that's the result. It just, it's a shame, but you know what? I have to attribute to that. It was me that opened the garage door. But honestly, I think the rest of it turned out pretty darn good. You see people online that are struggling in the forums and in the groups, and they would kill to have a print this good. You'll see that there's, around the windows and the arches, there's some problems, but again, that's when the main big overhead garage door was open, and it was around 20 degrees outside. All right, and I did want to compare it with the other benchies I've done. Here's one. It was lower temperatures. It's still not that bad, but I had some stringing issues on this one. And then I'll show you the black one next. Now, of course, this was actually a different brand of filament for this black one. You may remember this one from one of my previous videos when I was trying to just get it to stick to the bed. Still not a bad print. And compared to the white one, I would say they're pretty much on par. Actually, I would say the white one's a little bit better. Here you will see that I have some really weird artifacts happening. It's on the back side of everything I print. It's on this one. It's on this white benchy. Yeah, I think I may know what the issue is, but I'm gonna have to investigate it and see if I could show you the solution. And there's that black dot. I guess I should clean out the nozzles a little bit better. But then we're gonna be moving on now to the Yoda. I would have to say overall, this Yoda came out great, especially for what I've been dealing with lately. Unfortunately, the supports were just a little too well done, so to speak. I really tried not to break his fingers off, and well, I guess he's an amputee like me. Can't win them all. So I would have to work on the supports the next time I print. And there's still some supports around the neck that I still have to dig out. No big deal, just use a knife, X-Acto blade or something. I still have that weird artifact that's like on the benchies. Like I said, it's on every one of my prints, right down the back. It could be easily sanded down, especially if you're gonna paint it. Otherwise, this finish is very smooth. The texture in the hat, his garment, I guess his Santa outfit. Oh, nice detail. So yeah, it's again, people are struggling with their printers, and yet I'm able to do this in my garage and below 40 degrees. So not too bad. This print took almost 20 hours, and yeah, pretty overall satisfied with it. Very smooth.
Okay, well, I would say two of my most successful prints actually came in printing in pretty much refrigerator temperatures. It looks like angling this heater against the back, having it bounce back, worked. I mean, Yoda and the benchy came out really, really good. Minus some of this effects on the back, but you know what? I think we're going to tackle that in another video. I think I know what the reason is. It's not due to the temperature at all. But we did have some lines here when the garage door was left open, like I mentioned. But otherwise, I'm very happy with how this turned out. I think this is a great interim solution for printing in cold temperatures. You just got to make sure that you have a heater that doesn't have an excessive blower on it. And I think you could be good to go. But again, mine's kind of unique. I'm having it bounce against the back, and it kind of hits the cabinet too. So there's really no wind turbulence on the print. So anyways, I appreciate you watching, and tune in the next time. Thanks.